Hi, my wisdom walkers. And for those of you who are new to visiting my channel, Life Lessons Learned, my name is Sherry. And in this video, I'm going to talk about some various reasons why marriage after 60 is a no-go for me. So let's get to it. Those of you who are familiar with me know that I'll just say 66. But I got a divorce from my husband, so now ex-husband, when I was 30. So yeah, if you do the math, you'll know that I've been single for 30, divorced for 36 years. That's a long time. It's been a great time though, so let's get into it. So I thought about it, and really recently, to be honest with you, I had a friend ask me very sincerely, and she was like, I have a question for you. I'm like, uh-oh. When your best friend says, I have a question for you, before they ask a question, it's like when you're in a relationship and one of the two partners says, we need to talk. You're like, uh-oh, what's up? And she says, that you don't have to answer right away. Just think about it. And I'm like, well, I always think before I speak. Maybe not always, but 99.99% of the time. And I mean, there's no question you can ask that I wouldn't be able to answer. It's not like I have to go on Mount Sinai and meditate for a month before I can come up with some kind of answer for you. But anyway, she said, do you really think sincerely that you would be open to another, love type relationship? And so, and I, of course, already know that. I mean, I haven't been divorced for 36 years and single for 36 years without having over the years thought about that. Would you be open to it? Would you seek it out if it came into your stratosphere? Would you reject it or would you accept it? Because these are questions a lot of us single people do ask ourselves. What would I do if I do finally come across someone, even in my later years? And I thought about my answers to her because, again, I've already been thinking about this over the years. And the things that I shared with her after thinking about it, I was like, well, that could apply for why not? Why, marriage not after 40 years or 50 years even. But these are things that resonate with me. So these are really the reasons why I don't see marriage as we're talking marriage, not someone that's just a compatible friend or someone that you may have a relationship with or someone that you find good camaraderie with. Because, people do want companionship, and the companionship doesn't always mean marriage or living together or any of that. So I wanted to say that up front. So it's not like I'm saying, no, I don't ever want to see anyone or meet anyone or go out to dinner with anyone. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about the actual culmination of a relationship that leads to marriage. Okay. So, just to give you an idea, after my divorce, and this would have been maybe 7 or 8 years after, because again, I was raising my girls and focusing on, that, me and that. I dated a chiropractor. Um, Nice guy, very gentlemanly, old school like I am. When I say that, I mean opening doors for you and things like that. Um, and that was working out really well. And then one day, because, he's, I guess, I don't know. Sometimes men are looking to, and he was divorced and he had kids. So it's the same as I was at that point in my life. And sometimes I find that men are looking to get back into the marriage relationship sometimes sooner than women. But I'll explain why I think that. That's just me. I don't have any statistics or records to prove any of this. Okay. But at one point, he was kind of getting there, we really have a good time together and that kind of thing. So I asked him what was he looking for in a mate? Because you need to know if you're on the same page or on the same path, if you're even in the same universe, okay? And I mean, he said the basic things that most guys would say. Um, but you'll see what I mean by that. So he kind of like cocked his head like he really had to pull something out of the atmosphere when he already knew he what his answer would be. And he said, "Well, not that's just a I want to be like a traditional couple." And I said, "What does that mean for you? Traditional couple? What?" And he said, "Well, I would like someone who would, do the grocery shopping." I'm like, "Okay." He said, "And then come home, and cook and everything. And that's like breakfast in the morning. Make me something for lunch unless we're going out together. And then, of course, have something, in the evening for dinner." And I said, "Okay." He said, "And also someone that's, nice and neat and clean and, keep a clean house and, um, s- um, that keeps things tidy." He said, "And then someone that, wants to have sex on a regular basis." So I'm like, all of that makes sense. I'm not upset with men for wanting traditional type, households. There's nothing wrong with that. But I looked at him and I said, "You're actually looking for the same thing I'm looking for." He was like, "Pardon me?" I said, "No, I don't want a woman, but I would like someone that's going to go grocery shopping, do my cooking, do the cleaning, and have sex with me as well." I mean, hello. We all would like to have all of that. So that I just shared that to say that a lot of times they not I mean, we all have different expectations and everything when we think about relationships and marriages and things like that. But we, meaning the female part of this whole equation, and I guess you can see I'm talking the traditional type couples where it's male and female, okay? The woman is the one that does all of those things and more, especially if they have children, because they're also taking care of the household and the kids and things like that. So I get that. But for me, it was already like an uneven scale. And I had already, been there, done that kind of thing. So I thought about that and I was like, okay, I get it. Yeah, but I want that too. I want someone to go grocery shopping for me, cook for me, make my lunch, have my dinner ready, keep a clean house, take care of the kids. I didn't want to be interviewing for that kind of position. Okay. So, and that was when I was in my mid 30s. So I didn't, wasn't upset with him, like I said, or anything like that. It was just like, okay, that that only works for me if I get to have the same thing. Now, another thing, as I said, I've been divorced now for 36 years. That's an awful long time, you guys. And well, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people, once they've been on their own, alone, self sufficient, not really needing anyone else. If you haven't seen my previous video, um, it's just 2 videos ago, I was always whole. You'll see what I mean by that. I never actually needed validation or um, approval from a mate or a spouse or a partner or anything like that. Those things are good to get and hear throughout your relationship, but it wasn't something that I craved or needed or sought out. So I'm okay with all of that. But I said all of that to say being on your own for 36 years, kids grown, gone, it's just you. I don't even have pets because I don't like to take care of anything. So I don't have pets or plants or any of that stuff. You know, the things I have here are things that are self-sufficient. So you kind of do get sort of set in your ways. I mean, you develop a routine out of 36 years and you're used to that routine and you can, well, I shouldn't say you, but I can have some like exceptions or some spontaneity, but it's when I decide to do that, not when someone else is deciding it. So another reason for me to make that statement about marriage after 60 is a no-go for me. I like doing what I like doing, when I like doing it, where I like doing it, how I like doing it, and why I like doing it. And I don't have to take someone else's ideas or thoughts or feelings into consideration because that's not something I've created for myself in my life. Now, the other thing, um, I wanted to talk about. And of course, if you're introducing someone else into your life at this point, they also have their set routines and their expectations and their things that they're used to. So it can be challenging trying to mingle and merge all of that. Not saying that it can't be done. I'm saying for me, I'm like, But why would I? The commercial, you can pay less, but why? I mean, you can pay more, but why? So that was one thing for me. Now, the other one I wanted to talk about is when you're in your 60s, and if you have had kids, your kids are grown. Hopefully, they're gone. Whoever you're with may also have grown kids. And I dated this one guy that was quite a bit older than me. So he was about 18 years older than I was. So I was in my 30s and he was in his like early 50s. And nice guy and everything. Again, I you know, like the old Southern gentleman type that, opens doors, pulls out your chair, says thank you, man, all of that kind of stuff. And I had dated, well, gone out on 3 or 4 dates with him. And then at one time, he wanted me to, come to his house. He was going to cook dinner for us and do that kind of thing. And as we were talking about setting this date up, he mentioned to me that, he has, well, I already knew he had a grown daughter and a grown son. And he said, when I come there, they may visit. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so are you talking about having a dinner date where they're meeting me, or are we talking about you and I will be there and they just may come over? And he goes, well, yeah, they have keys, and we might be watching a movie or something, and one of them may, pop in. And I said, oh, okay. Now for me, this is me again, you guys. I well, let me say this. Actually, I normally after I got divorced and everything and had my kids, I normally didn't date someone that had kids. But let me explain. I didn't expect my dates to take care of my kids. They're not theirs, okay? And I didn't expect them to, help me out financially with them or anything like that. That's their dad's responsibility. But I also didn't want the baby mama drama. So I didn't want to deal with someone that had young kids. If their kids were grown and gone, I was fine with that. But I didn't even want to like, I already have 3 young kids. I'm not trying to deal with two more or three more or however many more someone else may have. But again, that's me. So some of my friends would criticize me and say, well, you can't have 3 kids and be divorced and say you want someone else that don't have kids. And I was like, but I can do that. You probably can't, but I can do that. I can have whatever uh I don't even know what to say. I can have whatever rules and guidelines and expectations that I want to have in my life that is not, um, related to what someone else is wanting. Because people can always tell you if they don't want that, then that's fine. That's the reason why you say up front what you want and what you don't want. But for me, those were the things that I, wanted to adhere to. Now, the other thing or the other issue that I have with people who have, grown kids, which is fine. Sometimes those kids are ABC kids. So let me explain what that is. That's always bringing chaos, okay? No matter what you and your partner are doing, you're making plans for something. All of a sudden, these always bringing chaos ABC kids want to throw in a monkey wrench, or they want to throw in a reason why something won't work, or they want to start asking you to, meaning us to, questions about what we're doing, when we're doing it, why we're doing it. And I get it. Some grown kids do want to protect their parents, so that makes sense to me. But when the protection or the overseeing becomes more like your kids are not controlling this relationship, that doesn't work for me. Okay. So, and I do, as I've told you guys, everything is reciprocal. So I would not allow my kids to usurp or interrupt or have authority over a relationship that I'm in, but I also wouldn't expect my partner's kids to do that. And some people are okay with that. They're like, well, my daughter said this, so my son said that. And I'm like, then you need to be dating your daughter or your son. Okay. I'm not the one. So yeah, that was another issue that I had. These folks with their ABC kids always bringing chaos, and then you're supposed to deal with that and walk around that or understand that. But no, that's not going to happen. It wasn't going to happen with me in my 30s, my 40s, my 50s, and damn sure not my 60s. Okay, so that was another thing. And then, of course, when we're in our 60s, this has to be said because it's just a reality. Reality doesn't care about how we feel about anything, it just is. there are health issues that began to come along as we get into our 60s. And I'm 66. I'm healthy. I don't have a lot of issues, although my right shoulder sometimes is an issue because I had an injury in the bathroom. That's what they say. As people get older, the bathroom seems to be one of the worst places where we fall and get injuries. But that's neither here nor there. I'm a fairly pretty healthy person. I haven't been like had any major illnesses or things like that. Um, don't have hospital stays, and let me say I'm healthy. That doesn't have a lot to do with me. Granted, I didn't smoke, I didn't drink, didn't use drugs. I wasn't out there. I'm not haven't been. Well, I don't even want to say the word promiscuous because if people enjoy sex and they have sexual partners, that's their thing. But I led a pretty healthy lifestyle, and I don't do a lot of anything when you think about it. So I said that to say it doesn't have a lot to do with me. Sometimes it's, in our genes. Sometimes we're just blessed to not have had any major, like car accidents or, things like that. So for me, I'm like, I really don't want to be someone's nurse during my later golden years. Okay. Now, of course, when people do think about marriage and relationships that getting to the point of marriage, they already consider that. But for me, I'm like, nope. I thought I took care of my three daughters for 18 years, and all that that entailed. And I already told you guys I don't have pets, don't have plants, don't have anything that I have to take care of or water or take for a walk. No, I don't. I just want to take care of me at this point in my state in my life. So I just love my current life. And to answer my friend's question, I did say to her, if I were to meet someone that could be someone that whose company I enjoy, doesn't have any of these other issues going on, the ABC kids or the baby mama drama, which you would think people wouldn't have that in their 60s, but you know what they say, there's no fool like an old fool. And some people are still putting up in their 60s, putting up with BS that they should have dropped 30, 40, 20 years ago. Okay. But that's them, has nothing to do with me. But yes, I did tell her that if I am open to all kinds of relationships in my life. I'm not like some fuddy-duddy that wants to, a hermit, stay in the home and don't do anything, don't meet people. If someone smiles at me on the street, I'm not going to frown or say, "What the hell are they smiling at me for?" I'm very open. I'm receptive to that, and be what I would welcome someone that would come into my life where I could do, enjoyable things with, maybe go bowling, go to a theater or concert, things like that. So yeah, it's not like I don't want anyone ever in my life. But when it comes to merging all of that stuff and getting married and starting that over again, let's just all understand that for me, that ship has sailed, never to be seen again. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. This is Sherry. This is Life Lessons Learned. I know for a fact many of you have been married, divorced, single moms, single dads, had relationships that worked out, had some that for whatever reason didn't. Share Please share your comments below and let me know what you think about that. And if you're open, if you've been divorced for some years or even a short period of time, if you're looking to go that route again and get remarried and start over with a new partner, or if you're pretty satisfied with what you're creating for yourself in your life, and you can still be open to the possibility of all of that, or why you wouldn't be. This is Life Lessons Learned. I will talk to you guys later. See you.